You know, there comes a time in every adult life when you look up and realize that being strong has become your automatic setting. Not because you set out to live that way, but because life slowly taught you to expect very little from the people around you. Strength became the safe option, the predictable option, the option that didn't leave you disappointed. It's a familiar place for a lot of adults who've had to carry more than their share. You learned how to be the dependable one, the steady one, the one who shows up even when you're running on fumes. And somewhere along the way, without meaning to, you stopped expecting anyone to show up for you. It wasn't a decision that you made. It was something that life slowly taught you. This is called a lack of healthy support. But a lack of healthy support doesn't always look bad. I mean, sometimes it looks like really being good at handling things. Sometimes it looks like independence. And other times it looks like, I'm good. Yeah, really, I'm all right. But underneath all that strength, there's a quiet, tired place that knows you've been holding more than any one person should have to hold by yourself. I mean, you can be surrounded by people and still feel like you're carrying the whole world by yourself. And yes, the truth is you can survive without support. You've proven that already. But you know, surviving isn't the same as living. At some point, the real question becomes, do you want to keep on surviving, or do you want to feel supported enough to actually breathe again? When you don't have healthy support around you, life gets heavier in ways you don't always catch right away. You might start second guessing yourself because there's no one reminding you of what you're good at. You might start tucking your needs away because past experiences taught you that speaking up only leads to letdowns. And then little by little, we can start believing that being strong means being quiet, and being capable means doing everything on your own. When you've gone a long time without real support, you start adjusting to it without even realizing it. You can get used to running on empty. And then you start telling yourself, I guess this is just the way life works. Even though something deep down inside knows it shouldn't feel this lonely. You take on more than you should because you don't trust anyone else to help carry the weight. You stop asking for what you need because past disappointments taught you that asking only leads to hurt. And over time, it becomes easier to mistake having people around you for being actually supported by them. You can be in a room full of people and still feel alone because presence isn't the same as support. So before we dive in too deep, let me just set the stage for what this video is all about. We're talking about healthy support, real, steady, healthy support. It ties right into the last video, which was building healthy circles. So if you haven't seen that one yet, go ahead and check it out and come back here. But even if you don't, the heart of this is simple. You weren't made to do life alone. We were built for connection. And having people who truly show up for you makes all the difference. So go ahead, grab yourself a cup of coffee or your favorite beverage, have a seat, and let's talk about healthy support right here on The Different Choice.
Ooh, you gotta love yourself. Yeah, you gotta love yourself. Hey, you gotta love yourself. Just letting you know, you got to love yourself.
Hello, Facebook family, and welcome to A Different Choice. My name is James, and I'll be your host. You know, people don't stay in low support environments because they don't want more out of life, Most of the time, they've just never seen anything different. If you grew up being the one who held everything together, you learned early that your job was to give and not to receive. If your childhood felt chaotic, you taught yourself to be self-reliant. If people were inconsistent in your life, you quietly lowered your expectations so you wouldn't be disappointed. And when you've never actually experienced healthy support, it makes sense that you wouldn't know what it feels like to be cared for without strings, or encouraged without being used, or loved without feeling drained. So a lot of people settle. They tolerate, they adjust. Sometimes you tell yourself that needing support is a sign of weakness, when in reality, needing support is human. That's all it is. So get that negative self-talk out of your mind. Let me tell you what healthy support feels like. It feels like someone who listens to you without rushing to fix you. In other words, if you got something heavy you want to talk about, instead of somebody interrupting you and saying, you should do this, or maybe you should try that, they just listen. Sometimes just to let you vent. Sometimes we just have to vent. It feels like someone who celebrates your growth, someone who celebrates when you've done something good in your life. Healthy support is something you share. Matter of fact, it moves in both directions because both people's needs matter. And we're going to get to that in a little bit. And it's steady, the kind of care you can actually count on. That looks like simple, human things. Let me tell you, it's like checking in on just to see how you're doing, just to see how you're holding up. Some people just call you up just because. Not they don't want anything. They're not trying to give you anything, just because. That's part of what healthy support is like. Healthy support is showing up in ways that feel predictable and being emotionally reliable instead of a hit or miss. And maybe the best part, healthy support gives you room to breathe. It reminds you that you don't have to carry everything all by yourself. And you don't have to earn your rest. Now, I know what you're saying. How do I build this healthy support? I mean, after all, I've been going it alone for a long time. And in all honesty, that's a good question. Because if you've been going it a long time, if you've been doing it by yourself, if you've been handling everything by yourself, how do you get to a point of letting other people support you? Well, the first thing that you need to do is you must acknowledge what kind of support you need. What I mean is this. You may need some emotional support, someone who just listens to you deeply. You may need practical support, someone who helps shoulder the load. You may need spiritual support, someone who prays with you and for you. Or you may need relational support, someone who sees you without demanding performance or anything from you. Matter of fact, you may need a little bit of all of them. But start with one and then move on to the next. Because naming your needs is not selfish, it's self-awareness. And then from there, you must release what we call the lone warrior identity and understand that strength is not weakened by support. It is strengthened and multiplied by support. You were never meant to be the entire system. You are meant to be part of a community. Everybody has a part to play, and we need to let other people play their part in our lives. And not only in our lives, in our work. Not only in our work, even in our ministry. Let other people play their part. And then you begin redefining your boundaries. And again, we talked about boundaries a few videos ago. But you redefine your boundaries. And what I mean by that is you stop overgiving. You stop tolerating inconsistency. And what I mean is you no longer accept people who show up only when it benefits them. Inconsistency is not a personality trait, it's a reliability issue. You stop decreasing your needs to protect other people's comfort. As I said before, boundaries are not walls, they are doors that allow the right people in and keep the wrong patterns out. And finally, start small. You don't need a crowd. You know what you need? To start off with one person, one consistent voice, one healthy relationship that reminds you what support feels like. Healthy support grows from carefully planted seeds, not crowds. If you've been walking through life on your own, hear this and hear this now. There are people who can walk with you. Someone is out there capable of supporting you in real, healthy, steady ways. And also think about this. That same person who's supporting you may need the kind of support that only you can offer them. Support isn't meant to flow in one direction. It's something that we share, something that we build together. So let's lean into both sides of healthy support, giving and receiving it. If you need a refresher, revisit the Boundaries video or the Healthy Circles video and just keep growing. Grow into the version of yourself you were always meant to become. Learn to love yourself along the way. And from that, you will be able to help someone else learn how to love themselves too. So come on, y'all. Keep giving yourselves positive affirmations. Keep giving yourself positive ideas. Continue to look forward to the next day. And don't forget, love yourself in the process. Be good to yourself, forgive yourself, and always love yourself. We'll catch you in the next video with something else that's going to help us to move forward and to love ourselves. Until then, we'll see you next time, right here on A Different Choice.
Ooh, you gotta love yourself. Yeah, you gotta love yourself. Hey, you gotta love yourself. Just letting you know, you got to love yourself.